In this video, I'm going to show you how to create this stained glass name logo. This logo on the right is the inspiration for this project. I like this logo because it uses color and type in an interesting way. Here on the left is my finished interpretation of this logo. So, first thing that you need to do is create a new document in Illustrator and title it Stained Glass Logo and put your name on it. Double check that the size is set to letter and click OK. So in our blank document, the first thing that we're going to do is create the black background. So number 2 on the handout says select the rectangle tool, which is right here, and I'm going to set the fill to black and the stroke to none. So the first box up here at the top is the fill. I'm going to pop open the color chooser and choose black. The second box is the stroke. So I'm going to open that color chooser and pick none. Now in my document, I'm just going to click and drag a rectangle just by eyeballing it. Number 3 on the handout says open the layers panel. That's the double diamonds that are overlapping here on the side. I'm going to open that panel and pop open this little triangle right here so that I can see the path that I just created. Then here is the layer visibility icon. It's an eyeball, and here's a blank box. If you click inside that blank box, you'll create a padlock. That just locked the black rectangle in space. Just locked it in place. Okay, number 4, you need to select the type tool and change the color of the type to white. So I'm going to go up here to the top for the fill and change it to white. I'm going to choose a simple sans serif font by going to my font choices, and I already chose a font in advance, and it's called Brady Bunch Remastered right here. Now you'll notice that this list, you can't see a preview of what the fonts look like, but if you go to type font, now you can see what the fonts look like. So if you don't have a font in mind already and you want to look and see what they look like, then I would use the type font instead of the little shortcut menu. So I'm going to set the size to 150. So depending on what font you choose, you should probably set your size to somewhere between 100 and 200. Now I'm going to click on my document, and for some reason my color switched back to black. So I'm going to go ahead and change that back to white and try that again. And this time it worked. So I'm going to hold down Shift so I get all caps and write my name. So now I am on number 6 on the handout if you're following along. And what I'm going to do is switch to the selection tool, which is the black arrow. And now my name is selected. I'm going to go to the type menu and create outlines. So what that does is it changes this from a text object to just shapes that have anchor points. Number 7, with the name still selected, I'm going to go back up to the main menu at the top of the screen and go to Object, Ungroup. So you can see right now that the name has a little blue box around it, and those letters are all connected together. So when I ungroup it, now I can click on each one of these letters individually so they're no longer attached together. So in order to deselect everything on the keyboard, press Control-Shift-A and everything will deselect. So if we look back at the original logo, you'll notice that the letters overlap, They're all different sizes. Some of them are rotated to different angles, and some of them have distorted shapes. So I'm going to show you how to change the size, rotate them, and distort them. So first of all, we're going to start with the size. So I'm going to go back to my document, and let's just take, for example, the J. So if I want to change the size of the J, I click on it with the selection tool, and it gets this box around it. So I can click on any of these handles, and I can change the size of this letter however I want. And I'm pushing Control Z to undo those changes that I just made. So I'm just going to make it a little bit larger, and I actually want it to remain proportionate and not get distorted, so I'm going to hold down Shift and use only the corner and make that a little bit larger. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to show you how to do is rotate. So again, with the direct selection tool, which is the black arrow, I'm going to click a letter. We'll stick with the J, and when I hover the cursor around the corner of the letter, you can see I get this double-headed bendy arrow. That's the icon for rotate. So I can click and drag when that arrow shows up, and I can change the rotation of the J. The last thing that I'm going to do is show you how to distort a letter. This time I'm going to distort the T. So I'm going to click on that with the direct selection tool, which is the white arrow. So you can see that it has all of these little blue squares, which are called anchor points. So what I'm going to do is click on an individual anchor point, like this end of the T right here, and I'm going to pull it over to the side, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to click this anchor point and hold down Shift and click the anchor point underneath it so I can have both of them at the same time. Then I'm going to click and drag this a little bit longer. I think I'm going to do the same thing with the T on this side. Click the bottom one, the top one, hold down Shift, click the bottom one, and pull it over. I'm going to click off of it to deselect it. And I think I'm just going to kind of move these around and get a little crazy and make it how I want. So that is the way to distort, rotate, and change the size. So what you're going to do with your letters is look at the inspiration logo, bright lights, and create something that looks similar to that. Now I have already done that, so I'm just going to go ahead and select this text and copy it and paste it into this document. There we go. Alright, so we're now on number 9 on the handout. So use the direct selection tool, which is the white arrow, and select each letter. So I'm going to click the J, hold down Shift, and while I'm holding down Shift, I'm going to click all of the other pieces. Number 10 on the handout. On the main menu at the top of the screen, we're going to open the Pathfinder panel. So under Window, it's in alphabetical order, so go down to the P section and find Pathfinder, and here is the Pathfinder panel. So with all of these selected, I'm going to click the first button, which is called Divide. So what that did when I clicked it is it made all of the places where the letters are overlapped individual segments that I can now make individual colors. So number 11 on the handout, what I'm going to do is open up the Swatches panel so that I can have lots of colors to choose from. So the Swatches panel is this icon right here, And I'm going to click to open this little menu in the right corner and go down to Open Swatch Library, Color Books, and you can choose, you can look at these different ones and choose one that you like, but one that I find has lots of different color choices is True Match. So I'm going to choose True Match, and so now I have all of these colors to choose from. So I'm going to open this up really wide. Oops, accidentally clicked one, so Control Z to undo that. All right, so number 12 on the handout. Use the direct selection tool, which is the white arrow, to select a segment. So I'm going to choose just this part of the J. Then choose a color from over here. There we go. So continue filling all of the segments until you are finished with the whole word. And I'm just going to kind of do this kind of really fast and random here, just to show you how it works. So I expect you to take your time and choose your colors carefully, ones that go together and look well together. And almost finished. Okay, there we go. All right, so please do take your time choosing just the right colors to make your project look nice. All right, so if we go back to the original inspiration logo, we can see that the bottom of the letters is cut off straight, and then there's more text that's lined up underneath that. So now we're going to do that part of the project. So number 13 on the handout is switch to the rectangle tool and click and drag to make a rectangle that covers the bottom of the letters. So I'm going to try this, and if you can use the arrow keys to move it up or down. You can pull on the handles to make the size of it different if you want to, or you can delete it and try again. Alrighty, the color does not matter because it's going to disappear in just a minute anyway. So number 14, use the direct selection tool, which is the white arrow, and draw a box around all of the letters and the new rectangle. So white arrow, draw a box around it, so everything is selected. Now on the main menu, we're going to open Pathfinder, but actually it's already open over here, so we don't need to do that. And I'm going to click the second button over, which is called Trim. So when I clicked Trim, it cut off the bottom of the letters. So now all I need to do is press Control-Shift-A to deselect, select only the rectangle, and hit Delete. So number 17 on the handout, choose a few words that describe you, and in a simple font, write those words under your name. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the ones that I wrote on this document and copy it and paste it on here. So just choose, 3 or 4 words that represent you. And instead of using spaces to distinguish the letters, use different colors. So in this case, I used dark pink, light pink, and dark pink, so that you can see where the words begin and end. And if you need to, you can stretch your letters to be a little longer if they don't quite fit. And that's it. The project's finished. Save your changes, and that's it for now.